It's day 2 of Substack Bootcamp, and we are talking Substack. We are continuing the conversation. Welcome. Hi, Eva. Hi, Allison. Hi, Kristen. Hi, Rueen. So good to see you. Welcome. Welcome to the party. I'm so happy that you're back and that we're going to pick up this ball and we're going to keep moving with it. Hi, Marta. Welcome. Hello. Hello. Okay. So I'm curious if you wouldn't mind sharing. I'm sure that your wheels have been spinning. You've been thinking about things and you're just getting creative ideas and things are popping. I would love to know in the chat as you're joining, what is exciting you most about Substack as a platform for you in your business? I would love to hear that because that's actually a really cool springboard for me. As somebody who works intimately with people, as a one-to-one business coach, as the guide to the Homeward Sovereign Business Sanctuary program, if there's one thing about me that you will know is that I know my people, I know the women in my community, and I know your businesses. And so this context will inform this conversation today a little bit further. So what I really want to dig in on in today's conversation is helping you discern where Substack fits for you, because I think that, you know, one of the things I see so often with trainings like this or boot camps like this is like there's this assumption that because you signed up for this thing that I'm just going to like fire hose you with it and tell you that it's the greatest thing since sliced bread and you should absolutely 100% like give your whole life to it and do it and be it. And that's fun. It also isn't necessarily fully representative of every single person that is going to watch this replay or join me live for this conversation today. I am a person who is highly discerning and is always sort of like thinking through the lens of, does this commitment fit with my values? And what I want to say right out of the gate is that Substack does require a commitment. And I would also offer that I think picking up the ball from what we were talking about yesterday with marketing and growing our businesses into the next level, it's that it always requires a commitment. And it really is up to us to make the decision about how we want to make that commitment. So I'm always going to kind of lead you guys with the questions. That's the question underneath the question underneath the question. So I'm going to ask a lot of questions today. Here's my first one for you that I think is really relevant in making decisions about anything that we're doing in our business. And it's the thing that I'm going to bring to the conversation with my clients right out of the gate. And it is, what is the offer? So if you wouldn't mind just sharing with me in the chat here, what is the offer? Like, what kind of work do you do with people? Are you a one-to-one coach, consultant, guide? Are you a founder with a company that's scaling? Are you someone who works in a one-to-one, one-to-many capacity? Do you lead live event experiences? Do you have an agency? Like, what is your work like? And what are the offers inside of the work? Because that right there is going to dictate a lot of things when we're making decisions about how to use our marketing and how to use the different platforms that are available to us in our creative process. It's also going to dictate for us how we think about Substack and what we're doing on this platform, because as you know, there are 1,000 different directions we can go in. And I have a couple examples for you today of people that are creators that I enjoy reading their work and seeing what they're doing. And the question to us becomes, how are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? Okay. So one-to-one coaching is what Anna's talking about. That's what I'm doing. So I'll speak directly to this because I think that there is this, I don't know about you guys, but I think that there is like this culture of online business where it's like this assumption that everything revolves around a one-to-one or one-to-many model, and that we should have mass volume in order to be able to be successful in our businesses and to grow into the direction that we want to grow into. And what I would tell you is that that's just not so. And chances are that for a lot of you here, especially if you are interested in doing one-to-one work, you have enough people in the vortex right now in your community at large to accomplish your goals. But your brain is sort of hardwired to believe that you have to, exactly, Tracy, like have the must scale vibe built into it. And what I want to say is like, you don't have to do that. And this is actually one of my favorite things about Substack. It's because I can literally come here and know, you're going to hear me say this probably every single day of the week that we're together, because this is the thing that excites me the most, is that a new person can join my community that can subscribe to my Substack, and they can like immediately deep dive into all of this different content that I've created. They can get into my Substack website. They can see what I'm doing over there. I'm just actually going to pull this up and share my screen real quick. They can follow along. They can jump into the money code series if they're a paid subscriber. They can do a lot of things. And I just don't think that any other platform on the internet is giving us that same level of exposure, that same level of like instant, hey, like come into the deep with me. And that's the thing that I'm so excited about. Because there's limitless, endless possibilities for us, especially for us super creative folk. As I see like Taylor arriving, hi love. I see Bianca getting in here. Hi, Tammy. Highly creative people with multi-media approach to how they talk about business. And this is the place to do that. So let me just share my screen real quick because I want to show you something. So this is my home. This is my website for Substack. Okay. And what I love about this is you can decide sort of what you want your layout to be, where you can have your most popular content over here. No surprise that it's all of my paid content, my trainings on how to start your Substack, my Signal members. But so I have this section up here. I also have my homework diaries, which are some of my favorite things that I've ever written. And right now they're not behind the paywall. So if you guys want to read all of those, binge those, please get on in there and do that. And then I have like this other type of content that is mapped specifically, for things that these are my content pillars, essentially. Then you also have the 5-day money challenge and masterclass. And so what I love about this medium is that I've learned how to sort of create and write in these different styles to connect with the different type of person who's coming into my ecosystem and give them content that is going to be valuable for them to have an experience. So this is the word that I really want you to take today. How is my content? How is what I'm creating on a weekly, daily, monthly basis giving people an experience of me and my brand to really connect with me? That is, to me, the biggest place where, as I was saying yesterday, a lot of you here could 10x your marketing efforts and what you're doing, and you would still hardly scratch the surface on giving to your people what they deserve to receive from you. And what you actually would feel really good to create. I think that's the other piece. Like what would feel life-giving and exhilarating for you to be creating. And so this is where that commitment piece comes in. Substack is going to demand that you show up for it. It's going to ask you to put some skin in the game. It's going to challenge you with the blinking blank cursor, and it's going to give you a lot of space to create. And I think that is actually the really exciting part for a lot of us who've been sort of boxed in on these little baby grids and have been given character counts that we are limited by. And, you can't have a song longer than 90 seconds. You're told that if you are doing a talking head reel that goes over 3 minutes, that it's not going to be shown to anybody but your community and your audience, which I always laugh at because I'm like, good. Would you actually show it to my community and my audience, please? Would somebody please show it to them? Because I don't know what this algorithm is doing over here. But the other reality is that Meta, and I actually wrote a whole post about this on my feed. Meta is a paid to play. Truly, it's a pay to play, paid ads platform. I wrote this post. In fact, I don't think I'm going to be able to put the link in here so you can actively access it. But the title of it is "You're in a Toxic Relationship and Your Business is Paying the Ads Bill." And I'm basically explaining to you the difference as to what the difference between Substack and the Meta platforms, and why right now is a really cool time on a platform like Substack because there are no ads here. Substack makes its money from us essentially doing a revenue share with our paid subscribership, which I love. Actually, I love that. That's like partnership. That's ethical. You give me a platform to play on and to do all this on for free, and then I give you some cashola from my paid subscribers that come through and subscribe here. Okay. So here's the questions we're going to start with today. One is, what is your offer? Like, how do you work? How do you work? Guys, this is Business Coaching 101, but for some reason we get so squirreled up about this, and I'm raising my own hand in this because I have along the way. My business has just gotten so much more potent and profitable in the last year because I've just gotten really crystal clear on what my offer is and who my person is and how to sell to her, how to talk to her, how to build a relationship with her, and how to serve and coach her. And knowing that without all of this confusion of like, well, I think I want to do a hybrid and I think I want to do this one-to-one. And I think I want to do this one-to-many and I'm going to have a membership. And I mean, right? It's like, we call it an ascension model, but really it's just like confusing you and it's confusing other people too. So I want you to tell me, crystal clear, what is your offer? What is that ideal offer? What is the thing that's going to be it's the foundation of the model? The next thing that I want you to really think about is, what is your favorite way of creating? Like, where are you the most potent? Where are you the most activating? Where do you feel like you come the most alive? What I know is like, I'm a writer. I love to write. Okay. I'm a writer. I've written 4 books. I'm a poet. Your girl loves to write, but I also love live trainings and videos. I love coaching. I love a Zoom even more than a live stream because I get to see your faces and I get to engage. Like I'm a coach. I'm a coach's coach. And so knowing these things, it is behoove of us to choose platforms where we can actually do that thing more, like where we can be on camera, like where we can be most activating for people to bring them back. And I'm going to say this part is really important. So if you are a coach, which a lot of you are, as I'm seeing, people need to see you live in some way, shape, or form, even if it's like a video, even if it is a talking head reel. People have to experience you. It's difficult to build trust with a person that you've never actually had any sort of engagement with, seen on camera, had video conversations with. Some of y'all, this is going to be a little triggering. I love you so much. Heart hands. Some of you, can you tell I'm a millennial? Because I do it like this. I don't know how those Gen Z people do this other, what do they? Okay, I'm going to do some inappropriate hand gesture by mistake. So I'm going to stop myself right there. Kristen's laughing at me. I'm going to stop myself right there. So if you're just doing cute B-roll videos all the time and you're never talking to camera and giving people the real dose of who you are and who you be, I might be talking to some of you directly that I really love a lot right now. If you're not giving people the medicine and the gift of you live and in color as a real person, that's a problem. Because I'm not going to spend 5 figures on working with a coach that I have never seen speak in real time before. I'm not going to hire you as my coach if I don't feel like I have a relationship with you in some way, shape, or form. If I'm not like watching you doing something and being like, yeah, her, that, oh, okay, I feel that. So that's just a little soundbite for whoever needed to get that one today. So I'm really curious. What's your offer? What's your favorite way of creating and connecting? I'm loving these answers that you guys are throwing up. And here's the thing. You like being interviewed. You love the questions. I love that. It's not always going to be possible for you to be interviewed in, 100% of the time, unless you have like a really good friend or partner who's going to just sit there and do that for you. But getting questions from people and then doing talking head videos or showing up and doing live Q&As to answer people's questions real time, which PS, I'm going to do live Q&A on Friday of this week. So that's going to be the last day of boot camp. I'm going to be teaching even more about authority and sort of like rooting into authority, but I'm also going to be doing a lot of Q&A. So be sure to put that in your calendar to be here on Friday as well. So you can ask all of your questions real time and let me loose so that I can answer all of them and coach you guys. Okay. So that's the second piece. The third piece is really thinking about, now I think that this is actually the trickiest part. Okay. I'm going to underscore this. And frankly, this has been the trickiest part for my brain to figure out for 1,000 reasons, but one, because I'm so clear on how my model works, A, and B, because I don't need Substack to be like the biggest thing in my business. I'm using it as a complement to deepen the relationship with my community. Right? So I want you to hear me when I say that. Like, I'm using this platform not because I'm like, I'm going to scale this to a $30,000, $50,000. Like, great. That would be cool if it did that. I'm using it to create content to foster depth in relationship with people who will be prospects and the right people for my one-to-one coaching spots, which is a good opportunity for me to say that I have some coaching spots coming available in early October. And if that's something you're interested in exploring, one-to-one coaching, deep dive, me collaborating with you, co-creating with you in your business, this would be a moment to apply for that and schedule a call in September so we can explore and look at that. I'm going to put the link below to learn more about that, to schedule. Actually, it's the coaching page. Okay, focus Lilyestrom. There you go. So check out those links, schedule in a call. Let's have a conversation and explore where you are in your business and what you're trying to grow into, what's working, what's not working, and how do we expand? That would be the place. Okay. This last piece, I'm going to give you a couple examples of some people that I think are doing Substack in their own unique ways, and they're having success in it. And I think that's really exciting to me. Now, these are people who have brands, like pre-existing brands. So I do want to note that I think that that's like an important thing to signal and say out loud. But it doesn't mean that you can't do it your way subsequently, right? Like you get to do it your way, but I like to give you kind of a mix of examples so that you can put it in your brain and sort of, play in the field a little bit on, what feels relevant to you and what feels exciting to you and what, okay. So my first example, this is honestly my favorite example. I've been saying this one a lot, is good old Dolly Parton. And what I love about Dolly Parton is, I'm going to show you, hold on a second. I want to go and share my screen. What I love about Dolly is that she's figured out that this is a really great place for her to connect with her fans. And what she's doing on the platform is live video conversations with her fans, answering questions, being interviewed. You see that? Talking about just, real-time stuff, right? I love this. Like start of the show, she's talking about 9 to 5. She's sharing stories and memories with her community. And I really feel like this is a cool way for her to access, or for her fans to access her and meet her in a way that like obviously isn't necessarily happening on any other platform. And I just think like the algorithm gets to get in on that. The platform itself gets to do that. It is, I don't know. I just love it. Anybody else, if you have other accounts that you're following on Substack that you really love, just say it out loud. The other one that I think is awesome is Elizabeth Gilbert. And I love Liz Gilbert anyway. Like I enjoy her writing. I was just watching Eat, Pray, Love on the plane. I love Julia Roberts. You guys, it's like embarrassing for me to admit. I was so confused. Julia Roberts is so iconic to me, and so that movie to me, that when she was introducing herself as Liz Gilbert, I was like, that's so strange that's her name, that it's so familiar. Right. In my head, I was thinking that Cheryl Strayed wrote Eat, Pray, Love. So I just got myself really confused in real time. Anyway, sorry, Liz. I know that Eat, Pray, Love was yours. So she does these things called Letters from Love. And so she has these different guests that come in, and then they like co-write these pieces together. And then they do like a video. Sometimes she'll do the video where it's just her talking and she speaks to her community. Sometimes she'll do like videos with the person. And I love that. Like I love that you can use this platform to do interviews with people. Like you guys could literally record your podcast interviews here. Okay, there's another woman who I think is kind of great, and she's a little bit wild. But what I thought was interesting, how she's doing her Substack is she's writing. She's got these pieces where she's writing, this Florence Given gal. But she's also like, she's recording audios. So every one of these basically has an audio in it. And that's like essentially how she's doing all of them, right? So it's all audio. She's talking into the phone and recording. So my point in saying this to you guys is that what I think happens is we think Substack, we think writing, we think I'm not a writer. I don't think I can keep up with it. I don't think that. And what I want you to really understand is that you are a category of one if you believe that that is true. And you can build this platform, especially from this moment forward. Here's what's exciting about it. When was the last time you got to start something from scratch in your business? So you're starting from scratch, like hashtag back to school, new notebooks, new pencil case. You're starting from scratch and you're deciding what you want to bring forward and what you want to put into the platform and what message you want to really claim and how you want to frame it. And I just think there's something very exciting about that. And perhaps it's just like I'm Virgo seasoning out right now and I love organization and I love the content pillars and the buckets and the ability to like put things in different places and then create things. So like this boot camp, now I'll be able to put a little section for it where you'll be able to see the videos lined up. And I love that. It feels fresh and it feels clean. And it feels like, to me, when I go on my website page, it feels like I'm walking into Anthropologie and I'm going over to this little vignette. And then I'm going over to this little area where I get to see those candles that I can't have in my house because this fragrance is too strong for me, but it's fun to enjoy when I'm in the store. And then I go into the back where all the athleisure cute stuff is, right? And then all the little hair clips. I love that feeling of like finding my way through the thing and discovering what's mine to discover and giving people the depth of that, like the whimsy, right? Like go read a poem, go listen to a podcast that I decided to put here, go check out that Money Codes 5-day challenge, like go experience the brand, go feel the facets of it, go look at all the dimensions of it. And I really think that that is the thing that a lot of us are missing right now. And because of it, we become sort of like creatively stunted. And it's like we have a muzzle on because we think that, oh, it has to be this way. And I have to follow these best practices and the way that people are doing this and yada, 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 yada. And I just want you to hear me say, like, who says? Who told you that? What if that line of thinking is actually the thing that is putting the leash on you and it is keeping you from actually stretching into helping people in a bigger way right now? So as I'm stirring this little pot for you, I'm curious, like, where does Substack fit in the brand? It's like the projection, like getting your messaging out there. And where does it fit not only in the like external experience of your brand, but like inside of you? I remember the first time I sat down, I wrote my first Substack piece. And I remember just having this sensation of like, whoa, I just got to really let loose. Like I really got to write on the page in my very poetic style and I got to really be myself and I really got to express. That was super fun. I really, really enjoyed that process. I really enjoyed the highly creative opportunity that became available to me through this platform. I think the other thing that's important to note, you guys, is that a lot of you that are here, you're artists, right? I would clock you as an artist. I would clock you as somebody who is a seer. I would clock you as somebody who's like approaching things a little bit differently. And yeah, so my first post I wrote was called The Holy Practice of Being Here on thanks-giving and little big beautiful things. And I talked about my children and talked about my grief during infertility. And I talked about just like essentially how I moved through that and what I really wanted to be doing on this platform and what was kind of like moving through me, giving myself the space to actually do it. So here's where you get to make a decision, again, sovereign being, about what you would like this platform to actually do for you. This is the place where you answer the question, what has been missing for me? Like what, if I could just market and show up and create in whatever way that I want to, in the most fully expressed way possible. And guys, like that's a huge unlock when you can answer that question. If you feel like it, tell me in the chat right now, like what is the answer to that? I think you know more than you know, but the question is, will you allow yourself to know? Will you allow yourself to express that? Will you allow yourself to give yourself permission to have the gap of the time that is relevant when you're launching and building anything new, where it just feels like it's this sort of creative void space where you're testing and you're putting things out, but you're not really having much of a response. Like, what is your tolerance for that? And I would say for a lot of us, that's one of the biggest limiters is that, you know, we have all these rules in our heads about what it should look like, how it should move. And it's funny to me that I'm seeing a lot of coach type people cross over into Substack, and it's almost like they're like, this is an act of rebellion. You know, like I feel so rebellious. And it's like, what are you rebelling against? What are we rebelling against? Oh, okay. The conditioning, the programming that tells us that there's a certain way to do something. And we've been following that for so long. And what I want to invite us into in this query today, in this conversation, is where can I be, Tracy, my fully multidimensional, multifaceted self? Right? Where can I be that? And can I just give myself permission to step into that? Robin, I'm loving seeing you step into the void, and I'm loving watching you start to flourish and like the true voice start to come forward. This is really the thing we have to think about, you guys, because here's what, in this bootcamp, one thing I can tell you that you are not going to get is me telling you what is right and best for you. Sorry. I know it's disappointing. I can't do that because I'm literally not qualified. But what I can do is ask you some really good questions, right? To help you put these little pearls on the strand, to think about how your offer works and how your current marketing is working in relationship to that offer or not. And then really getting honest with yourself about how you show up in your most activating, potent, powerful way. You know, there's some folks here that live and die by slides, teaching on slides, you know, PowerPoints. They're like, I love it. It's so fun. I love the creative expression. I love to put funny gifts. I love to like keep people in unexpected. And there's people like me who literally start a slide deck and just feel like I get lost. I'm terrible at it. Now, could I practice and get better? Sure. But it doesn't make me come to life. I don't enjoy it. It puts me in a constriction energy, and I am not here for that. So I don't use them. When I speak live, I'm very theatrical. I'm multidimensional. I bring in music. I bring in dance. I bring in movement. I bring all kinds of things. And I give most of my time when I'm speaking, if I'm in a 40-minute session or whatnot, I give more than half of it back to the people in the way of visualization, prompts, inner exploration, and then sharing with each other, rather than me standing up there telling you a bunch of stuff about how you should think and what you should think. I'm actually most interested in you retrieving that from inside of yourself, because that's going to be the most reliable, most highly performing thing you can possibly put out into the world. So this conversation for you about Substack is like, there are no limits except for the ones that are self-imposed based upon past programming and fear and patterns and stories that you tell yourself of what you need to do in order to be successful. And you can make a decision today to start creating this thing and start doing it in a way that maybe stretches you and scares you and makes you feel a little bit nervous because it's like outside of the realm of what you've been doing. So when we're deciding where Substack actually fits for us, it's less about, am I going to do this? And more about what's taking me so long to actually allow myself to get in the water and start swimming. Because that's the thing. You can't know how to swim sitting on the shore, right? I always make that joke to people. It's like, you're trying to stay dry and learn how to swim at the same time. And these two things don't happen. They just don't go together. So where does it fit? What do you want to test? What do you want to create next? One way that I could recommend you guys testing this is thinking about your next masterclass, or your next challenge or a boot camp or something that you want to host. What would it look like to host it over here? What would it look like to start inviting people over into this space and saying to them with like, I don't know, I'm testing it. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm giving it a whirl and I want to see what happens. Like giving people the opportunity to come with you into this sort of liminal space of not knowing and, wet wings and testing it out and trying. Honestly, to me, it's so much more trustworthy. I'm here for it. I'm here for the person who's like, I don't know, let's go. Let's see what happens. Rather than the person who's like, these are the rules and this is what you have to do in order to be successful. And if you pay me XYZ dollars, I will show you the 15 steps to get blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, I don't think that's actually real. I just haven't had personal experience with that actually being real. I'd be curious if any of you guys have, but I haven't had experience in that actually working. What I do find to have an incredible long game shelf life is empowering people how to source from their own wisdom, their own innate creativity, their own fire, their own curiosity, their own whimsy, their own magic, their own awkwardness, their own not knowing, right? Their truth, and to bring that forward. Yeah, you're right. And I love, Katie, that you put rules in quotes, because that's what they are. They're made up. And for most of us, right, Gen X and millennial people, we were so indoctrinated into a life of like, go to school, do this, get the degree, get the job, go out, pay your dues. And I think if you're watching this right now, you're one of those people that's like, hold on, wait a second, time out, not doing that. What am I doing instead? And then there's this whole like detoxifying, unlearning that we have to do on the backside of it. Yeah, the do as I say generation. And now we're like flipping the bird and saying, watch me, I'm going to go do this instead. And I love it so much. And Substack is a place. Substack is a place. So I'm not going to get into all the features of Substack right now. That's not the point of today's conversation. Today is really about asking you these very direct questions. What is my offer? What is my favorite way of creating? Where is there a gap right now in what I'm doing and how I'm showing up? And what would it look like to commit to deepening the relationship with my community, inviting them along for the ride, and staying the course? Here's the last part. When I feel like there are crickets chirping, when I feel like I'm not sure if this is working, when I'm scared because I'm, sort of like doom scrolling, dopamine searching on Instagram, and then I'm watching all of the stuff over there telling me that I should be doing this instead. I still love Instagram. I think it's such a fun platform, but I also know that I really want my clients to be sure, that like we're having this deep conversation over here. We're like really doing the thing. And what happens is, it's why I have a really high conversion rate. So when I have a breakthrough call with someone, it's like they already know. They're just asking some questions and they're doing an energy check. It's more of like a timing energy check than it is like, ooh, am I going to do this or not? And that's because the depth of connection and the work that has been established on the front end, because this is what my model looks like. And I'm vested in committing myself to those relationships over time, over space, et cetera, and continuing to do that over and over and over again, and continue obviously to add value and all that jazz. That's why it has a high conversion rate. That's why it converts at, honestly, like 90%. So what is that for you? I want you to really think about this. Some of you might have like a little bit of an existential thing going on tonight, asking yourself, like, what am I doing and why am I doing it and how am I doing it? And if you do, it's okay. You can hold the complexity of having big question marks floating around in your head. You know what kind of cures them? Creation. Telling the truth. The satisfaction of creating something that like really feels good to you. And one of my favorite checks and balances is this. When I send it an email or I write a Substack and I like look at it and I don't typically look at unsubscribes because I just think, what's the point of that? They're good. But if I see like, oh, my numbers went down or I didn't have the numbers that I was hoping, blah, blah, blah. I ask myself, okay, would you change what you shared? Would you change what you wrote? Would you change what you said in the video? And the answer is always no. I would do it. I would do it all over again, even more dialed up next time. And I think like that's the thing that I want us to really like lead from. That's the thing to lock in. But guys, hear me when I say this. It takes courage. It takes nerves of steel. And it takes, to me, being backed. Being backed by your own receipts from your own life first, because you are your greatest testimonial. You are your most important success story. Then the clients that come through that are there, that are celebrating you. And then, the coaches and the guides and the mentors and the teachers and the friends on your path that believe in you and are there cheering for you and valuing what it is that you do. You notice that I didn't say your family members. This isn't to knock family. I love my family. But they never come on any of my lives or watch any of the stuff that I'm doing. And it's because they're not my ideal client. And I'm not even mad about it. Like, it's okay. I'm not at their place of work watching every single thing that they're doing either. Okay. That's it for today, day 2. So share in the comments any questions that you have or things that are coming up for you so that I can take that into consideration for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how I post, how I create, what I think about when I'm in my creation process, how this fits into the bigger creative operating system of my business, how I use Substack, how this all kind of comes together, what I've tested, what has worked, what has flopped, what's really working well, what I'm enjoying the most. That's what we're going to do tomorrow. So if you're like one of those people that just sits there and you're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do, this is overwhelming, I'm not sure how to do it, this is going to be for you tomorrow. So day 3, 1 p.m. Eastern time, I'll see you back here. And I appreciate you guys. And again, if you're like, I'm ready to rumble, I want to dig into the Substack thing, I'm not even sure where to begin, my Signal membership, which is $88 for the whole year, talk about a value. You guys can literally upgrade to that right now. And what you will get is access to all of my paywalled posts, all of the prompts and everything that are in those posts. But also this piece that people are super excited about and people get into and they're working on it. My clients will message me like, okay, here's where I am at this. They get into the Substack specific trainings and content that I have created. Let me just show you the visual on this because I think this will really, I'm a visual person. So what you get access to is the unlock on all of the membership trainings, which are very short. I wanted to keep this as like succinct as possible. So the official Substack Signal system training, how to build your creative operating system, the workbooks that go with it, how to think about your content pillars in your Substack website, how to talk about paid tiers, how to make them work with your existing offer, and then a big Q&A that I did with tons of, really deep dive questions. All that stuff you will have access to when you are a Signal member. Please let me know if you have questions about that specifically. And I look forward to welcoming you into that community. And I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow for day 3. All right, friends, I appreciate you. Sending you so much love. Thanks for being here today and have fun with these prompts and with exploring a little bit deeper what is being asked of you in this next season with your creation and your commitment to your message. Okay. Love you guys. Peace.